There's a specific conversation that happens between Western women when the subject of Thailand comes up. It starts as dismissal, those women are not real, it is transactional, he is just paying for an experience. But if you listen carefully, underneath the dismissal, there is something else. Something tighter, something that sounds less like judgment and more like recognition. Because the things Thai women do in the bedroom are not mysterious or exotic. They are things Western women used to do. Things that were negotiated away, argued away, explained away, and that they know somewhere underneath the dismissal produce something they are no longer producing. Here is why Western women secretly hate what Thai women do in bed, what those things actually are, why they disappeared from Western bedrooms, and why their presence in Thailand is the specific thing that makes men not stop talking about it. The first thing Thai women do in bed that Western women hate is the thing that sounds the most simple and is actually the most radical. She makes him feel like the priority in that moment. Not always, not in every dimension of her life, but in that room, in that time, he is where her attention is directed, completely not split between managing how she appears, monitoring the relational temperature, calculating what this means for tomorrow. Western women hate this because they were told it was the problem that centering the man's experience was the thing that needed to be corrected. What they were not told was what the man on the other side of that prioritization actually felt. Being made to feel like the priority genuinely, not performatively, is one of the most intimate experiences available. It requires only that her attention during that time belongs completely to him rather than to the management of the interaction. She had read the texts. Not snooping, she had seen more than he intended. Nothing explicit, just the tone. The specific phrase, she was completely present with me. She had put the phone down, she had thought, when was the last time I was completely present with him? Not present while managing three other things. Completely present. She had not been able to locate the memory. She had felt something she would not describe to anyone, not anger, something quieter and harder to manage than anger. For the Western woman watching, the prioritization is not self-erasure. It is the specific gift of complete attention. You are allowed to give it without it, meaning you have surrendered anything. When was the last time I was completely present with him? Not present while managing three things. Completely present, she could not locate the memory. Before we continue, please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any videos in the future. Physical generosity in the Western bedroom became over 2 decades of cultural renegotiation. Something complicated, something that required balancing, something that carried political weight it was never supposed to carry. The first casualty was spontaneous, uncalculated physical generosity, the giving that comes from simply wanting to give, without a ledger attached. Without the act being implicitly connected to the current state of the relational power balance, Thai women still give this way, Western women largely do not. The Western woman who gave up spontaneous physical generosity did so for reasons that were real. She was tired, the ledger had accumulated weight, she was no longer willing to pretend did not exist. None of those reasons are invalid. What she may not have fully calculated is the cost, what it did to the man on the other side of the withdrawal, and what the withdrawal communicated to him about his place in the relationship. He had come home from Thailand. She had noticed something in him. He was less tentative, less careful. She had asked what had been different. He had not known how to answer without causing damage. He had said, "Someone was generous with me," without complication. She had been quiet for a very long time. In that silence, she had understood more than he had said. She had also understood something about her own bedroom that she had not been willing to look at directly before. Someone was generous with me. Without complication. She was quiet for a long time. In that silence, she understood more than he had said. Western women arrive in intimate contexts with a specific invisible architecture, parts of themselves that are offered freely and parts that require prior negotiation. This architecture was not always there. It was built gradually through the accumulation of bad experiences, cultural messaging about acceptable and unacceptable female sexuality, and the specific self-consciousness of a woman who has been photographed, evaluated, and compared so consistently that she has begun to see herself from the outside even when no one is watching. Thai women bring a different relationship with their bodies into intimate contexts, not without insecurities, but without the same invisible architecture of what is permitted where. She inhabits her body. The Western woman monitors hers. He feels the difference before he can explain it. Her friend had said, but she is so much younger and thinner. Of course she is comfortable. She had considered this. Then she had said, I do not think it is about that. I think it is about what she was told about herself. Her friend had been quiet. She had said, we were told our bodies were objects to be managed. She was told her body was a thing she lived in. Those produce different women. For the Western woman watching, it is possible to choose, in specific moments, to inhabit rather than monitor. The choosing is available to you. We were told our bodies were objects to be managed. She was told her body was a thing she lived in. Those produce different women. The post-intimacy withdrawal, the specific way that many Western women begin the management of aftermath even before the intimacy is fully concluded, is one of the most consistently described contrasts among men who have experienced both not physical withdrawal necessarily, attentional withdrawal, the slight shift towards somewhere else, the beginning of the mental process of returning to the defended interior space, the warmth that begins to recede while the body is still present. Thai women do not do this, or do it far less. The warmth continues, the presence continues. Western women hate this specific quality because they know, if they are honest, that they have been doing the withdrawal for years. The withdrawal, when habitual, tells the man something he absorbs without articulating. This closeness has a time limit, after which she returns to a version of herself that is less available to him. He adjusts. He begins to unconsciously contain his investment to the window before the withdrawal begins. Thailand removes the withdrawal. He stops containing. She had thought about the last time she had stayed fully, warmly, without the beginning of the mental transition back to separateness. She had tried to locate it. She had thought, I leave before it is over. I have been leaving before it is over for years. She had not known she was doing it. She had thought she was simply returning to herself. She had not considered that returning to herself might be something he could feel. Stay. That is the whole practical advice for this point. Stay present, stay warm, stay with the version of yourself that was just close to someone rather than immediately returning to the managed version. The staying requires only the decision to not leave before it is over. I leave before it is over. I have been leaving before it is over for years. She had not known she was doing it. She had not considered that he could feel it. I want to ask both groups watching this, the men and the women, is there something in this video you recognized about yourself, not about the other person, about yourself? Tell me in the comments. I think more people are in this than would say so. Here is the thing that the men watching this video most consistently describe to me. They know what is missing. They have known for a while. They can feel the specific shape of the absence, the prioritization that stopped, the generosity that became complicated, the warmth that starts to recede before the evening is over. They know all of it. What they do not know is how to find the version of intimacy that still has those things. How to find the woman who brings them. how to approach her correctly, how to be the kind of man she brings the undivided version of herself to rather than the managed version. That gap between knowing what is missing and knowing how to find it is where everything stays stuck. That is why I sat down and wrote From Hello to Her Bedroom, 10 chapters, how to find her, how to approach her in a way that signals you are the kind of man she is looking for, how to build the trust that makes her comfortable enough to show you the undivided version of herself. How to be the man this video has been describing rather than the man who heard about that man and hopes she cannot tell the difference. The mistakes, it prevents the wrong signals, the wrong speed, the conversations that closed a door you did not know was open. Those mistakes cost considerably more than $14. In lost opportunities, in the women who were looking for exactly you and never got the signal that you were there, you can find the link in the pinned comment at the top. For now, it is only $14. Check it out. Female initiation in the Western bedroom has become one of the most fraught acts available in an intimate relationship loaded with questions about whose desire is being centered, what the initiation signals about power, whether reaching first is an act of strength or vulnerability. The result is that many Western women have stopped initiating, not because they have stopped wanting to, but because wanting and reaching have been separated by a layer of calculation that was not there 20 years ago. Thai women initiate because they want to, without the calculation, without the political layer, simply because the person they are with is someone they want to be close to, and reaching for them is the most natural expression of that. Western women hate this not because it is wrong, because they remember when they did the same and can feel the specific point at which they stop. The man who is reached for genuinely, simply, without the performance of calculated initiation feels wanted, specifically, as the person she is reaching for, not as the person who happens to be there. She had been at dinner with two friends. One of them had said, "I used to reach for him. I do not reach for him anymore." I do not even know when that stopped. The other, I know when it stopped for me. It stopped when I started calculating whether reaching would be interpreted correctly. The first one had said, yes, the calculation killed it. They had all been quiet. None of them had said the next thought, which was, somewhere there are women who are still reaching without the calculation. For the Western woman watching, the calculation has cost more than it protected. Reaching is still available to you. The calculation killed it. None of them said the next thought. Somewhere there are women who are still reaching without the calculation. Before we continue, please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any videos in the future. The management of sound during intimacy in Western culture has become a specific and largely unacknowledged form of performance. Women who have absorbed decades of media messaging about what intimate expression is supposed to sound like have, in many cases, replaced genuine involuntary response with a calibrated performance of what a positive response looks like. This is not dishonesty in the cruel sense. It is self-protection, the management of how she is perceived, even in the most private context available. Thai women, in this specific dimension, tend to be considerably less managed. What escapes them is more often involuntary and therefore more often real. And real is the thing that men feel in an entirely different register from performed. The man who has received managed sound and then receives unmanaged sound understands the difference before he can articulate it. He knows he is not being performed at. He knows something real is happening. Two genuine people in a room together. He had forgotten that was a category. She had overheard him once, talking to a friend, not knowing she was within earshot. He had said, "She was not performing for me. I could feel the difference. I had not known there was a difference to feel." She had walked into the other room. She had thought about the last 3 years, about what she had been doing in that context and why. She had known the why, habit, management, the slow accumulation of distance that had made genuine response feel unsafe somehow. She had not had a word for what she had been doing. He had just given her one performing. She was not performing for me. I could feel the difference. I had not known there was a difference to feel. The secret hate that Western women feel toward what Thai women do in bed is not ultimately about Thailand. It is about recognition, the specific, uncomfortable recognition of something they once did or wanted to do or believed was possible, that they can feel they no longer access. The hatred is useful because recognition is useful. It is pointing at the specific qualities: presence, generosity, physical ease, genuine response, uncalculated initiation, warmth that stays, that intimacy is for when it is working correctly. And those qualities are not Thai inventions, they are human capacities that are simply more consistently present in Thai women because Thai culture has not yet argued them out of existence. Naming the losses is not an argument for returning to the problems that produced the removal. It is an argument for finding a way to have neither. She had watched the video, not because she had intended to, because it had appeared and something in the title had hooked something in her. She had watched the whole thing. At the end, she had sat for a while. She had thought, I hate that this is accurate. I hate that I know it is accurate. Then she had thought, what would happen if I stopped hating the accuracy and started doing something with it? She had not answered that yet, but she had asked it. Asking it was the beginning. The recognition is the most useful thing this video can give you, not as ammunition against yourself, as a map toward something. What Thai women do in bed is not beyond you. It is behind a layer of habit and calculation and distance that was built for reasons that made sense and can be taken down for reasons that also make sense. I hate that this is accurate. Then what would happen if I stopped hating the accuracy and started doing something with it? She had not answered yet, but she had asked. Asking was the beginning. If you are the man who recognizes what this video is describing and you want to find the woman who still brings it rather than spending more time with what used to be there, check out my guide in the pinned comment. Western women secretly hate what Thai women do in bed because it is a mirror, not a foreign thing, a familiar thing that they once had access to and no longer do, for reasons that are understandable and costs that are real. The things Thai women do are not complicated. They are presence, generosity, physical ease, genuine response, warmth that stays, initiation without calculation. None of these things were invented in Thailand. They are simply preserved there, and the men who experience them are not discovering something exotic. They are remembering something human. If this channel is helping you, remember subscribe. There is more. If you enjoy watching my videos, then please support me by subscribing to my channel. It just shows the algorithm that you like these kinds of videos. And if you want to find the woman who still brings all of it, the guide is waiting for you in the pinned comment.